Perfect. Thank you. All right. Well, I want to introduce our team, our leadership team this summer. So I'm Natalie. I'm back as the camp director this summer. I'm looking forward to another great summer. Katie Plank will be back as our program director again as well. She is unable to make it this afternoon as she's in grad school in Indiana right now. Brittany?
Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm the assistant camp director.
Also on our team this year, we have Tyler Hartman. He is our commissioner. If you've been to camp before, he's been our metalwork coordinator, our ATV director, our ODS director, kind of a jack of all trades. So we're excited to have him on the leadership team. And I'll pass it off to Maddie and Christine.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Maddie Karstens. I am the camping director for the Mid-America Council. So any questions throughout the year or anything like that I can help with, and I'll be out and about at camp this summer as well.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christine Salmons. I oversee our council properties and also our summer camp programs. So excited to have you guys join this meeting. And yeah, we have a great team this summer as far as to support for summer camp. So
a big update for us this year. Last year, we earned our ACA, American Camp Association accreditation. So not only will we be following the national BSA camp standards, we will also be following the secondary set of camp standards as well. This image here is linked to a letter from the council. So if you have questions about what that means, feel free to read through that, that letter. We are very excited to have ACA accreditation. We spent a lot of time and a lot of hours getting that prepared.
If you like to listen to it, you can come over here. Okay, yeah.
Some of our program updates this year, not a whole lot has changed, but some tweaks have happened. We are continuing with our block schedule period hybrid classes. So classes will be over 2 days, and scouts are able to take up to 6 classes during the day. We have a patrol activity period, which is from 3:45 to 6. So that afternoon time, we have open swim, open lakefront available, and you can also do some activities within your unit. Our SPL meeting takes place daily at 1:15. And continuing this year, morning flags will be in your campsite as a unit. Excuse me. Our meal shifts, we do eat in shifts. Breakfast is an open breakfast from 6:30 to 7:30. We did shorten that about 15 minutes this year to allow people enough time to get to their merit badge classes. Lunch for North Camp will be from 12 to 12:30. And South Camp will be from 12:40 to 1:10. And then dinner for North Camp will be from 5:30 to 6, and South Camp will be 6:30 to 7. Flags is between, camp-wide flags are between the 2 dinner shifts. And we do have some dining options. You can eat in the dining hall or outside in our Rotary Pavilion, which is like a picnic shelter that is near the dining hall. This is just a visual of what our weekly schedule looks like. Again, nothing major has changed except for that breakfast 15-minute window. And up at the top on this slide, we have what campsites are North Camp and what campsites are South Camp. This is also linked on the council website if you need to reference back to it later. Also this summer, Camp Immacarroll, which is our Cub Camp, will be at Camp Cedars. So there will be a little bit of an overlap Friday evening and Sunday afternoon. So Maddie and I have spent lots of time and hours coming up with plans and systems to make it as smooth as possible. And no one should feel like they are being rushed to leave or kicked out. That's not our intention. This is a great opportunity for our Cub Packs to see the scouting program, and it's also an awesome opportunity for your scouts to interact and show the Cub Scouts what they have to look forward to in the future. A big change is that there will be no vehicle movement Friday from 2 to 6. There will be foot traffic only, and that is to keep everyone safe on camp. Yeah, so there will be no vehicles past the parking lot, our main parking lot at that time. There will be no trailer movement. We will have a large influx of people on camp with family night and Cubs coming in. So we just want to keep everyone safe. You could potentially share a campsite. We would ask you in the week prior if you would be willing to share a campsite with a pack for that Friday evening. And on Friday, we will only have one dinner in the dining hall. And our dinner will not start until 6:30. So the Cubs will eat before us, and then the Scout BSA program, will have dinner. So that's kind of like the Friday side of things. On Sunday, our check-in does not start until 1:30. So packs may be leaving at this time. The gate may be open, but please be patient and don't come in before 1:30. Again, so we can accommodate that traffic flow and know who's on camp and who is not on camp. Maddie, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to add that, like Natalie said, we've put a lot of logistic planning into this, and we've actually had overlap the last 2 summers for the final 2 sessions of both of our programs. So we've worked out a lot of the kinks. That being said, we do ask for a lot of patience and grace as we kind of expand that overlap in the 2 programs together. And if there's any questions at any time before camp or during your session about this overlap, feel free to ask. Like Natalie said, we don't want anyone to feel like they're pushed out or forced to leave. We want both programs to operate pretty much as normal as they can, and we're pretty confident that we can accomplish that.
At this point, does anyone have any questions for us? Again, feel free to utilize the chat box.
Quick question. Good morning.
Yes.
With the no vehicle movement, will UTVs, are those qualified to drive UTVs per BSA, Scouts BSA policy? Are those available for special needs families or Scouts?
That is a great question. So yes, we do have UTV and camp vehicles with particular camp people who are trained to use them. Yes, they will be available to transport on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions? All right. Well, we will go ahead and move on, and I'm going to pass it off to Brittany.
Hi. So some new programs we've got going on this summer. We've got 4 new merit badges. American Business, which will be taught in our citizenship area. American Cultures, which is going to be tied in with our Indian lore merit badge. American Heritage, which will also be taught at our citizenship area. And then they just revamped this whole merit badge, the healthcare professions merit badge, that will be taught in our health area. Our games area, which is right outside the trading post, we're going to continue to expand that this summer. This last summer, we added back the Gaga ball pits, life-size chess, and some fun games. We're going to continue to expand that area for fun opportunities for the Scouts. We are also adding 2 new inflatables to our obstacle course down at the lake. We had 2 new ones last year. We'll have an additional 2 new ones this year. So we'll see what that layout looks like this summer. For your older Scouts that are coming to camp and not sure what they want to do, we have COPE, which is a challenging outdoor personal experience. It is a program that is built to teach your scouts how to become good leaders, how to problem solve with another group of scouts. We also have advanced COPE. So that's for anybody who's taken COPE in the past, they can take advanced COPE. We have advanced climbing. So if they really enjoyed the climbing merit badge and want to learn some more about climbing, they can take the advanced climbing merit badge. We have stand-up paddleboards down at the lake. We have the kayaking merit badge down at the lake as well. We have metalworking, which has been a big hit the last couple of years. English riding and jousting in our equestrian area. And then there's many more other opportunities for our older scouts at camp.
All right. As far as honor camping societies that we offer at camp, this year we have Order of the Arrow. So our Order of the Arrow program offerings are, we do Brotherhood conversion ceremony on Tuesdays. Tuesday is OA day, so make sure you wear your sash to support the OA. And we have a game/movie night sponsored by the OA on Wednesday night. So this is a great time to meet other scouts from different units, share in that fellowship that happens at camp. And there is some more opportunities for OA as well. Covered wagon challenge will not be offered this summer. Brittany, I think this is you.
Yep. So program signups, March 1st, that's a big date. Scouts that are over the age of 14 can start to select their programs if they've put their $100 deposit down. All scouts can go ahead and start registering for classes March 17th. If they've put that $100 deposit down, they can start selecting their classes. Programs are a first come, first serve. After May 1st, scouts that have not paid in full will be removed from those programs. Also after May 1st, you might see your scouts schedules change just a little bit. We just don't want scouts being in a class all by themselves. So if we can change their schedule around a little bit to make it so they have the same classes, but the schedule just looks a little different, we're going to go ahead and try to do that. All those changes will be made and be done and be made 2 weeks prior to you coming to camp. And we will also send an email out saying your week's schedule changes are done. So you guys can go ahead and print out your schedules for your scouts. If there's anything that like your scout really wants this class, but you guys can't, it doesn't work in their schedule or just the way things are working out, it doesn't look like they can get that class, send me an email. I can kind of play around with the classes a little bit and the schedule, and I can see what I can try to do. I can't promise I can make everything happen, but I can try to move some classes around in your scouts schedule to see if it'll work better. So.
Anyone have any questions for Brittany about program signups or any of the changes?
What if we do not have a scout that pays their deposit by March 1st? Are they taken off the roster or does it roll until a certain date?
I can
No.
answer that question.
Okay.
So no, nothing's impacted as far as if you don't pay the deposit, you just won't see the class program sign up option. Once you pay that $100, then that class selection option will appear. So no issue waiting until even April or March or April or May. Just once you pay that $100, then you'll be able to select programs.
Any other questions?
Those kids.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and move on to prerequisites. Brittany, this one's you too.
Yep. So prerequisites, there are many merit badges that have prerequisites. You can do them, your scouts can do them before they come to camp or after they leave camp. It's however you want to do it. There is a link on the screen that shows you where we can actually input those prerequisites. There's also a one-page document that shows which merit badges have prerequisites and what they are. When those are put in, we will go ahead and take those records and put it in the merit badge. So when the merit badge counselor sees it, those requirements should be marked off already. Your scouts can also tell our merit badge counselors at camp if they completed those requirements ahead of time. Oh, shotgun and rifle, is Denny on here? Denny?
Yeah, I am, Brittany.
So shotgun and rifle have some new prerequisites, which are worksheets. Denny, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the worksheets are nothing more than the balance of the requirements for the merit badge. I know there was some confusion last year. But that homework is nothing more than the balance of the merit badge requirements. So if they are not done by the end of their session or the end of camp, if you will, you're going to get a partial merit, partial completion. You're not going to get the full completion. So it's really imperative that the scout finish that paperwork, if you will. They're there to, we can't, let me back up. We cannot go through all of the requirements in the time period. So because of that, we need to have the non-safety aspects of those merit badges understood by the scouts. So that's why we give them that prerequisite form to fill out to finish up. And I think this year, Christine, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this year we're going to mail those prerequisites out to the parents too, as well as the scout leaders. I think we decided that the other night.
Yeah, we'll be able to email it out to both the unit leadership
Right,
and also the parents.
So it's really imperative that they complete those things if they want to get a full merit badge, because the shooting aspect of the merit badges take up a lot of time, and we only got 2 days and during the class time to get them done. Plus we will have makeup time during the patrol periods and times on Fridays too, that they can come back and finish it. So hopefully I have enough opportunities where everybody will complete the merit badge.
Just to jump in here real quick, Denny, and ask a question. I know we got a lot of feedback from our parents and scouts last year that those worksheets were very difficult to complete, even using the workbooks for
The merit badge
rifle and
books.
shotgun. And we as leaders went through them with the scouts, and we struggled. Is there a way that they could get maybe a condensed study guide or something to help them? Because I know it was a big, hard thing for them, and even adults were really struggling. So some feedback that maybe a study guide or something a little focused on that to help them with those prereqs might ensure that they're getting them done before better. I think maybe a lot of the reason they weren't getting done is because they were struggling very hard to get them done.
Well, the worksheets have the page number of the merit badge book that they can find the answer to that question for.
And we could not find which edition that was. We pulled multiple versions of the book, and the pages did not correspond to anything we could find. It's some feedback we gave the camp last year. And it's nothing against anyone who created this, but maybe we need to look into that and review that, because that might be a way we can ensure some better completion on those.
Well, we had taken all of those from the 2021 edition of the merit badge book. So it was, at the time, it was the most modern, and the merit badge, well, I understand what you're saying, and I'll look at that to see if there's some changes. We do have a new merit badge book that came out, shotgun and rifle, excuse me, this year. So the page numbers may change. I will certainly look at that. That's a good thought, and see if we can come up with some condensed versions of that to help you.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you for that, because I think a study guide or something that we could give them to focus specifically on those prereqs would be a great help for the scouts.
Okay. Somebody said something about a worksheet. But we'll work on that through our committee and see if we can come up with something fairly quickly and get it to Brittany so that she can and Christine, so we can get that out to folks. So we certainly don't want that to be an impediment to finishing the merit badge. Our instructors are going to be working directly with the kids during off hours and stuff like that, that they can help them with that. The biggest thing when we talked about it at our meeting is that we have to finish that thing by BSA standards. We can't give the merit badge away just because they can't find the answers to those things. So we'll help them as much as we can.
Absolutely, and they do need to earn it. I think we just need to give them a little bit more focus on where to study so that they can do that themselves. We want them to be scout led, right?
We will do that. We'll see what we can come up with for you.
You need. You have one.
Thank you for all your feedback and your suggestions. Like Denny said, we'll work on that to make it accessible for all of our scouts and attainable so that they can earn these merit badges. So we did hear all the feedback last summer and we hear you now. So we will work on that. All right. So kind of our schedule, I see your comments in the chat. Feel free to keep utilizing that. Our timeline moving forward. So some important dates, like Brittany pointed out, March 1st through the 16th, ages 14 and up, with their $100 deposit down, can put in their program preferences. They can choose their classes. March 17th, it opens up to all scouts who have paid their $100 deposit. On April 2nd, that is when the camperships are due. So that's an application for some assistance to attend camp. May 4th, the discounted rate for camp concludes. So $355 is the discounted rate this year. Scouts paid in full will receive their free t-shirt at this time. And adults can purchase t-shirts for $15 online. And then the $100 cancellation fee per scout spot is dropped from a troops registration. June 1st, it is a $385 cancellation fee per scout dropped from the troops registration. So those are some important dates going into the spring. So it's important to make note of those. Yes, these slides will be made available on our council website, and Brittany already answered that. She's ahead of me.
Just trying to help you out.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep.
And I'm gonna pass it off to Maddie to talk about our discount.
Yeah, so we have a lot of discounts for scouts and adults that can be combined on top of each other. So scouts who sell 200 camp cards can attend camp for free. And I know we counted up all the camp cards on Friday at the office. So those are almost ready to go out to all your units. So that sale starts soon. There's also a $15 per scout and $10 per adult if their family gives to their troops ICC campaign for this year. The $15 discount if they sold popcorn and or camp cards. I know that I've had some questions about this one, so if they sell popcorn, $15, or if they sold camp cards, $15, and if they sell both, it's $15. So it's not like a combined, add-on thing. It's just $15 total there. And then $10 per adult who completes their training for their primary BSA registered position. So if there's any questions on what their actual registered position is based off the recharter, we can answer that. And then the trainings required for those positions are listed online as well. Any new scout that joins your troop, whether they are a Weebelo crossing over from the pack or are a first-time scout in your troop, will receive that discounted rate even after May 4th. So that's a great thing to promote to all of those Weebelos crossing over or new scouts joining your troop, that they can still go to camp with that discounted price. As Natalie mentioned, the camperships are due April 2nd. And I really encourage anyone to apply for that. The online application is linked there, and that can provide up to half of the cost of camp for those who earn it. And then there is a discount for multi-week campers. So if they want to attend camp twice, we will give them a discount for that as well.
Maddie, I think there's some questions of what is the discounted rate compared to what the full rate is?
Yes, so the discounted rate is $355 and then the full rate is $385.
Perfect.
All right, and then paying for camp. So you have a couple options. The troop can collect money from the families and then make that payment all at once within the registration. There's also the parent portal feature in the online registration system, which is a great option. All of the families would get a specific link and login for their scouts where they can add in some of that information, health information, t-shirt sizes, rank, those types of things. And then classes can be entered if you allow that. The troop leader who created the registration can kind of have control over some of that access. And then parents can also pay for the registration through that system as well. And then there's a jot form link that families can pay for camp directly. And then the council would apply that money to the registration. So a couple different options there. And if you have questions with any of how to set that up, we can certainly help with that as well. I think this one's me too. So adult leadership and provisional scouts. So all adults who are in camp over 72 hours must be registered members of the BSA. I know that there was a change in this rule within the last week or so, and that will take effect, I believe, in September. So just a heads up for next summer, anyone staying overnight attending camp would have to be registered with the BSA. But for this summer, we will still do the 72-hour rule. So make sure that they do that before they get to camp, because there is, a background check, youth protection, those types of things involved in that process. So make sure that you are getting those leaders who are staying for that long registered. 2 adult leaders per unit are required, including in linked troops. So that means if you have a male troop and a female troop that are linked, each troop needs their own 2 leaders. So the male troop needs 2 and the female troop needs 2 leaders. If a unit isn't able to provide the 2 adult leaders, we can help pair the scouts up with another unit of the same gender. And then provisional campers are a scout who attends camp individually. So we will help pair them up with a unit of their same gender. So example, a male troop and a female troop who are linked and would share a same campsite. If there's only one youth of either gender, we would consider them provisional and they would have to camp with another unit of that same gender. So I know there's lots of questions about that and kind of, well, what about this? What about that? So feel free to call us and we can talk through it and further explain if there's any case by case questions.
All right. So on Sunday, our check-in process has not changed much since the past couple of years. But check-in is from 1:30 to 4 on Sunday. Please arrive together with your troop. It speeds up your check-in process when you all show up together. So in no particular order, these are the things that you will complete on Sunday. So we do swim checks. If you do pre-checks prior to camp, make sure you stop by at our pool still so you can get your wristbands and make buddy tags. If you have any scouts taking archery, they will do a bow check. You will have to do a medical check and a medical recheck, which we will go into more details here in a little bit. You can unpack and set up camp, check in with our OA coordinator, talk with him about brotherhood conversion. And then at 4:30, we will have a leaders/SPL meeting at our Rotary shelter. And this is where, we'll welcome you to camp. We'll share any changes, any important A words that you need to go into the week. Some of our check-in documents. So it's important that you have these with you. So swim checks, a swim check form for any pre-camp swim checks. Our aquatics director does reserve the right to retest any scout that they feel needs to. All your medical forms, again, we will get into that part, the meat and potatoes of that in a little bit. We do have a number of waivers that need to be completed for scouts who are participating in these programs. So we have an equestrian waiver. If you have any scouts, back up. Equestrian is for those who are taking the classes and trail rides. ATV, there is the ASI rider course form, the ATV COVID waiver, and scouts who are taking ATV have to complete this online training before they can take the class. So make sure your scouts complete that and have the certificate prior to coming to camp. If your scouts are taking aviation, there is the Aero Club waiver, the consent form, and new this year is this flying plan checklist. So that is new. There is also a link of how you can upload these to 24/7 or Black Bug. You can also always bring a paper copy. And these are all hyperlinked here. So when these slides are available to you, you can see the waivers. They're also posted on our website as well. All right, before we jump into medical forms and all that fun stuff, does anyone have any questions, waivers, leadership?
Natalie, I'll add a little bit on that new aviation form.
Okay.
So this is a form through National that is required for every unit that is doing flying. So whether you have one scout taking aviation or 10, the unit will have to fill this out. And so basically what it will entail is we will provide you a list of the flight instructors and the planes that we'll be using. We will do kind of a list of all the ones that are possible throughout the summer. With our partnership with the Air Force and the Aero Club, we don't always know exactly who's instructing until like the week before, but we have a list of people that it could be. So we'll provide that to you, and that's included on the form. And then it requires your unit to kind of just go through the checklist, make sure that everything is there. And then it requires the committee chair or the charter org rep signature, and then another adult leader signature. So this is a new process for us, kind of working through the kinks, but that form is available online for you to see. And then within the next month or so, we will have that listing of instructors and planes to kind of attach to that. So any questions about that? I know it's a new form and it's kind of hard to explain without seeing it, but if you do have any scouts taking aviation, your unit will have to fill that form out as well.
Thank you. So there is a question in the chat. What are the age requirements for ATV, cope, and equestrian? Brittany?
I don't know off the top of my head. Equestrian, there is no age, correct?
Correct.
ATVs, do they have to be 14?
I believe it's 14.
I believe it's 14. Cope, 14 is a good guideline. Does that help answer your question?
And okay. Aviation, what if unit is out of council? Can Scout still take? Yes.
Yep, they can still take it. You'd still have to fill out that form, but it would work just the same.
Going back to the age requirements, if there are any, it is listed on the program listing on our online platform. So 24/7 will tell you what requirements there are. All right, we're gonna get into everyone's favorite part, our medical forms. And I know Colleen Steinhauser is on here, so Colleen, feel free to jump in or correct me if I am wrong.
Okay.
So a health form is required for every Scout and adult. You have to use the BSA annual health and medical record. There are no substitutions, except for Colleen. I will let you explain that one, the children's form. Go for it.
So part A, part B have to be the BSA form. So have your families go online, Google BSA health form, and you will get the newest form, which is the 2019 printing. I encourage families, this was a hint that was given to me years ago when I had all 6 of my family members having BSA, is saving the form and typing it in and then just printing it off. And then all you have to do every year is just change on A and B, the height and the weight of your Scout. It helps us make sure that we have part A and part B. Part C needs to be filled out by a licensed healthcare professional. BSA requires that it is the part C because there are specific questions that are asked that are required. Now, a number of years ago, we did have a physician through Children's Hospital and Medical Center in Omaha, Nebraska, ask if they could input all of the questions that are on the BSA Part C into their Epic medical record system. And they approached the council. It has been approved by our council only. So again, this would not work if your troop is going to Philmont or High Adventure or to an out of council camp. But Camp Cedars will accept the camp Part C physical. The challenge that we run into with health form check-in is troops, families will go to their primary providers and say, okay, I need a camp health physical. Children's Hospital and Medical Center does have a camp health physical form in their Epic system. That does not have the right questions. It has to be a Part C camp physical. And that has the exact same questions that are on the BSA Part C. So please have your families, if they do have a children's medical center in Omaha, Nebraska, pediatrician, that they need to have that form alone. We spend a lot of time chasing after forms on Sunday evening and contacting families and troops leaders contacting families saying, hey, you need to call your office. And on Monday, they need to send us this form. So please help your parents be proactive in asking for the correct form and your leaders. We cannot accept VA physicals. And that's a common one that we get is have your leaders be proactive in bringing in that BSA Part C to your provider. That insurance cards. Okay, so insurance cards. BSA does require insurance cards. It's stated on the health form. It's highlighted, with a little triangle with an exclamation point. Spencer and I had a conversation about the insurance cards. If you are on TRICARE, or we do have a lot of military families, and I believe military is changing, but for a long time, the insurance card actually had the military member's social security number, which again, for privacy purposes. If you are on Medicaid, you may not have a card. Insurance cards, that is going to be something that you as a family member, if your scout needs to go into Fremont Area Medical Center or get transferred on into Omaha for some reason, and insurance becomes involved, that is something between you and the family member and the hospital. The hospital is required to treat you whether you have insurance or not. So it's kind of one of those things. We prefer you to follow the paperwork, but again, to cut down on the amount of emailing back and forth and everything, it's not something that the camp needs. It is something that the medical area, if your child needs medical care outside of camp, that you will have to deal with. It might make it easier to process the paperwork if your scout has the insurance card at the time that they are seen. But that is between you and the medical center. So yes, Spencer did give permission to say we don't have to ask for them anymore. I'm just trying to follow the rules as far as the insurance card needed to be present. But again, the Camp Cedars doesn't need to have it. National just asks that the insurance card be attached to help the medical center or the hospital if your child needs extended care. The odds of that, luckily, is very rare. So we're not going to be chasing after insurance cards this year.
So some other important things to note on your health form, make sure you have parent or guardian signatures on there. We just settled the insurance card, tetanus immunization within the last 10 years, all the parts, so A, B, and C. C does require physical examination within the last 12 months, and signed by the appropriate medical profession. So this ensures a smooth check-in process for you. And like Colleen said earlier, we're not having to track down physicals or signatures into Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So medications, it is a Nebraska state law that they need to be labeled in the original containers or in labeled pharmacy packaged containers. So Schedule II medications for youth and adults do need to be kept in the medical area. Our medic is at every meal with the medications that she will hand to an adult leader, and you will distribute them and then turn them back into her. We will talk about the tracking in a second, but Walgreens offers bubble packing or school bottles. And in addition to that, please enter any dietary needs on your online registration. That way we know about them and we can prepare for them as best we can to accommodate you at camp.
Natalie,
yep.
I just wanted to address, we did have something in the chat regarding immunizations. BSA does have a immunization refusal form. So if you have someone who has religious or medical reasons for not being able to have, and again, our minimum for BSA is the tetanus every 10 years. If you choose not to have the tetanus vaccination, you can Google and find the BSA immunization refusal form. And we can accept that.
Thank you. Okay, so this is new for us all. So please utilize the question box. Per ACA requirements, we do have to make some medication updates and tracking updates. So Colleen, feel free to jump in. Maddie, please jump in. But units must document all medication administration, including prescription and over-the-counter medications while at camp. Medications taken at the health lodge will be documented in our first aid logbook. And we have a couple forms to be filled out. So it's encouraged for parents to complete this individual prescription medication record prior to coming to camp, and reviewed by the unit leadership administering these medications at camp. Each camper must complete their individual form, and it has to be completed for both youth and adults. Unit leaders must complete this unit medication record form for any over-the-counter medications given in the campsites by unit leaders. So yes, it is a new form. And they will be posted online. They are linked here, and I believe they will be posted in our leaders guide. Maddie, anything to add?
Yes, so the individual prescription medication record is required for everyone, and it's encouraged that the parents for the youth fill it out because it just outlines like the dosage and the time taken. So, you know, the bottle might say once a day with a meal, but you take it at breakfast or they take it at dinner, and the scout might not know really, or, you know, might get confused or whatever. So that just helps the leader as well know when that medication is to be given.
I got one question, Maddie, on that, or Natalie. Does that apply for staff too, the adult portion of the staff?
Yes,
Yep.
it will. Yep.
So we'll have to fill those out. Is that just a one-time thing for the whole summer, or is that every week?
You'd probably have to do it a different form every week because it's like a weekly schedule. And so, you know, we can copy the form and just keep all the medication the same, but we can talk about it too, Denny, for how that would work.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yep. And yes, adults as well needs this form. So form for both youth and adults.
All right.
And this is Colleen. Rose and I will plan on having some extra copies at the medical form check-in. If you need it, you know, I know constantly I have scout leaders tell me it's like, yeah, I got my health form as they were dropping off the scout. And unfortunately, those are the health forms that usually are missing the signature on the first page, part A, of giving permission for your scout to participate. So you may have to work with your adult leaders as far as filling out those medical forms or the form to track the administration of the medication. And we can keep those forms in the bag that we put the medications that we hold, that we bring to the dining hall. We can keep those forms in there. And so, you know, you give, you know, Johnny his medication, Mark his medication, Joe his medication, or if you're a girl troop, you know, Mary, Susie, Jane, their medication. All you're needing to do is just, you're documenting that you gave that medication. This is something that I did with my own troop internally, because that way I could say to because sometimes we might have different troop leaders. I did 90% of the medications, but if I wasn't available, I was helping out with the merit badge, or, I was needed up at the health lodge, and one of the other leaders stepped in. We had some internal accountability that leader one did help all of the scouts get their morning medications. So that way we had some internal accountability. And so basically all we're asking the troops to do is have a way of documenting, so that way you can go back to your parents and say, yes, Johnny or Mary got their medications like they were supposed to.
Colleen, this is Denny again. One other question. For adults, at least staff adults, if you give your own medications, is this still required? In
Yes.
other words, it is required even if you're taking your own medications.
Yes, all medications for the American Camping Association, all medications that are dispensed at camp need to be kind of accounted for. So, yeah, if you are an adult leader and you have, all medications on camp need to be locked in a box, whether they are stored at the medical office or stored in a locked container at your campsite or in the staff area. And you can get, little locked boxes or whatever, is put this form in there. And when you take your medication, go ahead and just document that you took it. We are asking units to turn these in at the end of the week when you check out. When you come in to the medical office and say, okay, hey, we're checking out, and we're picking up the medications that we asked the medical office, medical area to store, or maybe we didn't store any medications for you and you're checking out of camp. When you get your forms, you'll hand in your medication administration forms. And we basically don't look at them. But we have to keep them on file.
Colleen, there's a question. Does this include inhaler use?
Yes. EpiPens and inhaler use, yes, because especially if you are using an inhaler or using an EpiPen, you should be coming up to the medical office anyways, just to have a follow-up. But yes, go ahead and have your scouts. If your scout, because EpiPens and inhalers are emergency medication, and your scout is, or adult, is allowed to keep that on their person, is go ahead and make them a copy so that way they can keep it with their inhaler. But again, if that inhaler is used, they should be seen by the medic. And so then record keeping of that inhaler being used is available. You also, again, have that form. Johnny or Mary might not use their inhaler when they're at home or when they're in school. And, Johnny and Mary are, hiking up the hill, going to the climbing tower every day. And they're going up the hill because their campsite is in Arapahoe, which is probably one of the lowest camps and farthest away from the climbing tower. And they're walking that distance every single day, and it's hot and it's dusty. And they're using their inhaler a lot more than what they normally would do in school or at home. We need to be able to track that they're using their inhaler a lot more. So that's where we're asking the documentation for the inhaler as well.
One more question, Colleen. What about CPAPs for adults? Is that to be recorded?
That's not a medication. That's a medical device.
Okay, so that doesn't need to be recorded.
No, it's
Okay.
just a medication. So it's, Tylenol for a headache. If you're giving Tylenol or Claritin for allergies to your scouts in the campsite, because again, those are medications the medical office doesn't have to hold, keeping track of those, because that way you can go back to your parents and say, this is the medication that your scout received this week, if they wanted to know.
Well, and Colleen, it's important for you or Rose to know too, if they come to the health office, what they've already had as you
Mhm.
continue their treatment, or if EMS is called for any reason.
Yeah,
Those
we can
medical
ask
providers
for
need to
that
know.
record. We can ask for that record. You wouldn't have to bring that record if they came up to see us, but if we needed to send them on to, say Fremont, say an asthma attack, and we know that the scout has self-medicated themselves because they've written it down on their form, they've done 3 puffs already of their inhaler, and then we give them a nebulizer treatment in the medical office, and we don't know they've already used their inhaler several times because they're not going to be able to tell us they're having an asthma attack. It's good for us to know. Okay, so there's a question, if they need to use their inhaler and they use it themselves, then they need to track, or they need to go to the medical office to report about it. No, they don't. If they use an EpiPen, they have to. If they use an inhaler as a rescue inhaler, no, they do not have to see the medical office. Let me just clarify what I said before. I did lump them together. But knowing how often they use it can make a difference. And that's why we're asking them to track their use. So giving an extra sheet of paper that they'll keep with their inhaler will help the medical professionals and, Rose or I or whoever is the medic that weekend, look for patterns.
Just to reiterate, this is for prescription and non-prescription medications. And this is a new process for us as well. And this is per the ACA accreditation and the set of guidelines that we have to follow. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to us even after this meeting, and we will answer them for you. All right. We do offer a medical form review for the Omaha Metro troops. So these can be reviewed prior to your arrival to camp. It helps speed up the check-in process, and it ensures that your medical forms are complete. So it's available at the Durham Scout Shop Center in Omaha. There's no specific date to review, but at the latest, you need to drop your forms off by Wednesday prior to your arrival at camp. We will keep the forms and take them to camp for you, and they need to be in an envelope that holds the health form. They need to have the unit number, the week you'll be at camp, and a contact name, phone, and email. No binders or open file folders, please. We want to make sure everything is safe and secure. If you are local to camp, so in the Fremont area, you can arrange a time to drop them off at camp prior to your arrival. Go ahead, Colleen.
And Natalie, if I can just speak to that, I'll be coming into the council office every Wednesday afternoon, from 4 to 6, and reviewing the forms, and having a contact name, phone, and email. I will send you an email, that contact person, of saying, hey, please make sure to bring a part C. So maybe you have A and B that you turned in, but you're still missing part C. Bring your part C for Johnny. Don't forget, you will need to check in XY, medications for Joe. So I'll send each contact anything that they need to be aware of or need to update. So that way they have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to get those things taken care of. So you're ready to check in on Sunday. And then if we've pre-checked your medical forms, you just say, hey, I'm from my own troop 99. I'm from troop 99. I've pre-checked my forms. I go back in my folder, I pull up, and I have my email saying, okay, and you have, this and this and this and this and this I asked you to bring. And where are, do you have any other extra forms? health forms that we need to quickly go through that maybe you did not have on, say, Wednesday when you turned him into the camp office.
So again, this is just an option to help speed up your check-in process a little bit, that is available to you. All right, so our COVID-19 policies, we are following the guidelines from Three Rivers Health Department, which is our local county health department of where camp is located. Specific health guidelines will be communicated as we get closer to camp, as far as mask, temperature checks, etc. We do have hand washing and sanitizing stations in places around camp, and hand sanitizer stations outside of our dining hall. And as far as our refund policies, so if someone does get COVID or is exposed or sent home from camp because of COVID, you can see our refund policy in the leader's guide. All right. And we have some employment opportunities. So if you have some older scouts who maybe feel like they've done everything they can at camp, but they still want to be a part of camp, encourage them to apply for camp staff. Our application is linked here. Scouts ages 14 and up can apply to work on camp staff. 14 is our CIT age, which is counselor in training. 15 and up is a full staff member. But we have week-long and weekend positions available in most of our areas. It is a great opportunity to see the other side of camp and help other scouts learn. We do have some resources available on our website, which is goscoutcamping.org. These are just some images of like some of the resources that we have available. There are many, like I said, many resources there. Emails will be sent with reminders as we prepare for camp. If you have any questions, there's all of our contact information. So feel free to reach out to us or even Scouter Services, and they will get you in contact with us. This recording and the slides will be linked on our website as well. So you can reference them, your parents can reference them. And in closing, we just want to open it up for any questions, anything we may have missed or anything you wrote down. Feel free to use the chat box.
Hey, Natalie, just one thing I saw, like if your scout does get sick, like before camp, during camp, in order for them to come to camp, they do need to be symptom-free and fever-free for 24 hours without the help of Tylenol, ibuprofen, or anything like that that's going to help get rid of that fever. So just keep that in mind. Remind parents that if your scout is sick, they do need to be symptom-free for 24 hours, fever-free, without the help of Tylenol, ibuprofen, or anything like that before they can come to camp.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out, Brittany.
And Natalie, this is Colleen, just to kind of pair onto that. One of the screening questions that we do ask is, do they have or have anybody coming to camp had exposure to COVID? That is one of our required questions for the health system, or excuse me, the Three Rivers Health Department as far as screening. We did have a couple instances last summer where we did potentially need to ask because of an exposure to a family member at home. The camping participant didn't themselves have any symptoms, but they were exposed. So last summer, the CDC guidelines were that the participant needed to wear a mask. What those requirements are going to be this summer, I don't know, but we did have, some time some conversations with scouts and leaders as far as, Johnny or Mary may have to wear a mask for, 4 days, just, following CDC. So we are bound to follow CDC policy based on our health department. So it's not that nobody wants to wear a mask at camp if they don't choose to. Masks are still encouraged at camp if you feel the need to. But if the CDC and the Three Rivers Health Department say this is what we have to do, it's what we have to do. So please tell your campers that, be informed of what the local guidelines are. It's not that I want someone to go around camp with a mask that doesn't need to, but just know that we have to follow our guidelines.
And we want to keep everyone safe and healthy
Mhm.
during camp and after they leave camp as well.
Mhm.
And, a scout is trustworthy, so answering those questions honestly as well. We had a couple questions in the chat. Can a scout come a day or two late? We can handle that on a case-by-case basis. If a scout does get sick before camp, can they receive a refund? We do have a refund request form and can be eligible for up to 80% of a refund back. What other questions can we help answer? All right, well, we'll stick around for a couple minutes if anyone has a burning question they want to ask. Thank you so much for giving up some time this afternoon. Like I said previously, this slideshow and this recording will be posted on our website, Go Scout Camping, so you can reference back to it. We are looking forward to a great summer with you all, and we can't wait to have you all at camp. Yeah, thank you.